Hey, it's Justin Phillips, Clinical Director here at Stonegate Wellness. If you're watching this video, then I'm going to assume that you've made it home with one of our Indirect Moxa sticks. So this is just a real quick how-to video to make sure that you've got the tools to use this correctly at home. So step number one is you're going to want to take it out of the wrapper. Now you can burn it in the wrapper, but I'm going to recommend you remove it. So we're just going to slide this green sheet right off here. If this is the first time you've used your Moxa stick, you're going to have to light it from the end. It's going to take a little bit of time to get going the first time. Once you've used it several times, the ember cone will light a little bit more easily. But we're just going to take our handy-dandy lighter here. We're going to get this going. Now I will take a moment here to point out a few cautions. This is on fire, so be a little careful. Secondly, Moxa does have a fairly strong smell. So you may want to open some windows, crack a door, or even do this outside if you prefer. We're doing it here in the clinic, although you'll note that while you're here at the clinic, we probably didn't do it for you here, because that smell is a little pungent. In fact, we're shooting this video on a weekend when no one else is around. We're going to get a little bit of an ember cone going here in a minute. Like I said, the first time you use it can take a little while to really get going. That's okay. But over time, it's going to start picking up. And as it starts to burn, sort of like lighting a stick of incense, if you're familiar with that, we'll get some fire going, and once that really gets going, we'll then be able to use that to create our ember cone that we're actually going to use for our Moxa treatment. What we're doing essentially here is burning away the paper to get down to the actual Moxa inside. For those of you that don't know, if your practitioner didn't tell you, Moxa is Chinese mugwort. Artemisia vulgara is the botanical name of that. Aya in the Chinese pharmacopoeia. Has a really excellent warming quality. The reason we like using Moxa is because it has a very penetrating heat. So rather than just warming up the skin, it's actually going to get into the body in order to stimulate and warm those points. Now, I've been sitting here talking to you for a little while I did this, but part of the reason we're doing this is to show you it does take a little while to get down to that ember cone. But you can see now I've gotten down to this internal part that's glowing kind of a nice rosy orange color. And I can blow on that to get that going a little bit more. Now, a couple things to note. As this burns down and you get embers on here, you're going to want to dust those off. You don't want to tap this on something like you see people do with a cigarette. The packed Moxa inside can break up, and then as it burns down, this ember cone can fall and strike you in the leg or burn your carpet. We don't want that to happen. So when you do brush this ash off, please just brush this off into a container, which you can then clean later. The other note is this is on fire, so don't at any point let the actual tip of this touch your body at any point. We'll talk about a couple methods, but we don't want to touch ourselves with this. So I'm going to give you a quick demonstration here. So what we're going to do with the Moxa is when we want to use this, we want to keep this approximately 3 to 5 inches from the body. So I'm going to be kind of from somewhere in here to even a little bit farther away. I want to find a place where I can feel that warmth, but it's not overwhelming. Okay? So just kind of right in this area. Then what I'm going to do is I just want to move that Moxa stick. I don't want to leave it in one place because I don't want to overwhelm myself with how hot that is. We want to keep that moving. It doesn't really matter how you move it. You want to make figure eights, little circles, draw smiley faces. Doesn't really matter. You just want to kind of keep that moving through the area. A couple good places. Obviously, your provider probably gave you an idea of how you wanted to use this Moxa and where you wanted to use it, but a couple general notes. The inside of the foot and up the ankle is going to be a really excellent place for Moxa. Also, the outside of the shin, just the whole length up and down the outside of the shin, those are all going to be really excellent places to use your Moxa as you move that around. For some other techniques, your provider may have given you some. You're welcome to use those, but in a basic idea, just keep it moving, work those areas. An average treatment is going to take you 3, maybe 5 minutes. What you're going to work for is when the skin starts to feel warm and looks just a little bit reddish pink. We don't want to go until it's really, really red because, as I said, the quality of heat by Moxa is very penetrating. So whatever heat we've gotten into the body, more is going to come back out. So if I go until it's a little reddish pink, it will then continue to get red until it's fairly bright red. If I go until it's red, it's probably going to blister, and we don't want that to happen. So right until it's just rosy pink. Another good way to check is you can hold your hand a little bit above the skin, and when you feel heat radiating back out of the skin, you're probably done. Now, when you finish your Moxa treatment, you don't want to put this out with any sort of water. You don't want to use alcohol or anything like that to try to snuff this, because if that Moxa gets wet, it becomes very difficult to light and use in the future. So what we want to do is we want to smother this. So we've got a little cup of gravel here that we're going to use. You can use gravel, you can use sand, you can use cooked rice. It doesn't really matter. What I would encourage you to do is have a container where you'll just be storing your Moxa stick with whatever you're going to use to smother it. You can then put that Moxa stick in there to smother. Put that in a cabinet. Make sure you keep it someplace where it's going to stay dry, but put that in a cabinet and just store it. Next time you're going to use it, pull it back out, light it, use it, put it out just the same. And that way, you can just continue to use it day after day. A single Moxa stick will typically last many treatments, so there's no reason to feel like you have to just dispose of it right away. These are great devices, very nourishing, great for your immune system, good for your digestion, so lots of uses for this. If you've watched this video but you haven't talked to one of our providers about Moxa sticks, feel free to ask us. These are only $1, so probably one of the cheapest things you can do for your health. So we're going to go ahead and just smother this out here. We're just going to tuck that down into the gravel and let that go out. We'll tuck that out of the way. That way we'll have it for next time. You can do Moxa yourself every single day. It's tough to overdo it as long as you're not doing it for too long at any single treatment and burning yourself. As always, do be cautious. If you have any questions, please let us know. It is fire, so it is possible to hurt yourself. So if you do have questions, don't guess. We're here as a resource at all times. Please feel free to jump over to the contact page and shoot us an email. Otherwise, good moxing. Have a great day.